Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a homeschool curriculum on a budget. Here are my 5 easy steps to help you make a homeschool curriculum on a budget that works for you. The first step that we used was to decide on how much you are able or willing to spend for your homeschool curriculum. Now, this is just 1 year. We're using high school books as an example. This is just giving you a reference of how it is possible to make a curriculum on a budget. You don't have to go and get textbooks. What I found out is that when I was searching for curriculums, it was very expensive, especially if you go to some of these websites. I mean, they have $1,000. They have the whole curriculum made for you. I understand that does make it easier because all you have to do is just buy it and then, learn how to use the books and the tools, and then you just teach the lessons, and you don't have to go through and pick out each and every book that you want your child to have. I found that in the long run, it is worth taking the extra time, but I understand not everybody has that extra time. I chose some books that I felt worked for us and our family, but you might have, again, your own personal taste. You put your own personal spin on your curriculum. Everybody does that. Again, your step number 1 is decide on how much you are able or willing to spend. And step number 2 is choose what you want your curriculum to cover. You might want your curriculum to cover something of your religious beliefs, or you might want to focus on specific points of history. That is, again, a very important step. You can also build your curriculum on your child's likes and dislikes. If your student is really good at, loves reading, then you get more books like this. You don't have to get a big chunky literature book that covers up these topics and isn't only going over certain types of literature. You can expand it to be whatever you want. I feel like, for us at least, it was very hard to understand how much freedom you do have with homeschooling. You get to decide the curriculum, what you want to be taught, how it's going to be taught. I think that's liberating, very liberating. Moving on to step number 3 for building your homeschool curriculum on a budget. This is probably one of the most important, because otherwise none of your other stuff, your curriculum won't work unless you follow your state's homeschool statutes and requirements. I will leave a link in the description for a website that tells you for your state what are the requirements for your state and for homeschooling. We live in Florida, which is one of the more pro-homeschooling states, so there's not very many rules. I can make a whole video on that, of how to create your transcript. There is an annual evaluation. I can show you an example of one in the future if you'd like me to. Our state requires an annual evaluation. We submit it to the county, and we have a certified teacher approve of our work. And step number 4 is gathering necessary supplies. Making your homeschool area. Some people have homeschool rooms. Some people just have a desk. Whatever you use, make sure that you have all the supplies you need. Keep it organized. I feel like organization is very helpful. It makes it easier for you and your child. A lot of these books, especially workbooks, can be just, put away in a box, and you just take out that box every day, every morning, and it's just ready to go. The 5th step I have is making a schedule that works for you. This is important because it's very easy to see a lot of these homeschool videos, or they wake up at 6 a.m., they just keep going and going and going all day. If that works for you, great. For us, 6 a.m. for people that are not morning people, bad idea. So we start more around 9. And again, feel free to have your schedule be flexible, because you never know what could happen. So don't feel like you have to stick to a schedule. Of course, have a schedule, make sure you stick with it for the most part, but don't feel like, oh, we didn't finish this topic this today, my whole schedule for the week is thrown off. It's not true. A lot of these, I've seen many of the people have these homeschool schedules that are very regimented, that from this hour to this hour you'll be doing this topic, and that's it, you have to finish it, you have to finish it then. Like, I think that doesn't really work for us, because what if you're learning something and you don't really get the hang of it the first time you learn it? And then are you supposed to just finish it then and then just move on? What if you can't? Then it's when you start to, learning starts to become, discouraged. I feel like that creates an anxiety pool that I am not here for. I think it's best to, sometimes you'll have those moments where your student is not going to get the topic. I feel like you can spend more time on it, or you can come back to it. Don't feel like you have to finish it that day. And those were my 5 steps for how to create a homeschool curriculum on a budget. So keeping all those 5 steps in mind, keeping your budget in mind, keeping what you want your curriculum to cover, keeping your state and homeschool statutes and requirements in your mind, gathering your necessary supplies, and making a schedule that works for you are all very important when you are choosing the books and the workbooks that you want to have in your curriculum. There are a lot of free worksheets online. They are not very easy to find. I will link as many as I can in the description, but what I'm saying is I feel like you can use a workbook like this, a notebook like this. This is actually, I found this one the other day. It was only $6.98, and it's like very similar to the ones I had, except it doesn't have a cloth covering here on the spiral bound part. But this does have the new study app, the same one I showed in my back to school homeschooling video. I'll have that linked in the description also, where you just scan a page and it will scan it to your phone, and you can study with your notes like that. I feel like that's definitely worth it. There's 5 subjects, there's pockets, this is the scanning thing here. I feel like if you have to have your worksheets, you don't really need to have like ones you pay for. There's a lot of things that are free out there. It's just, it's very time consuming, so I understand why people feel like it's just worth it if you don't have the time. But I'm going to show you some of the easiest. I found these off of Amazon. Almost all of these are off of Amazon. Some of them I got at, again, our local library's book sale. We get a lot of things from there. But again, a lot of this, you can build your curriculum to be however you want it to be. eBay is a big help. You can find a lot of books off of eBay. If you can't even get like some of these books that are like new like this, I know for sure there are thrift books you can buy that are only like $2 for some of these. Now they are kind of worn, they're careworn, but if you need the information, and that's the cheapest way I could possibly think. There also is a lot of PDFs. In my next video, I will show you all the workbooks and free resources, PDFs, worksheets that I found. I even found full textbooks that are PDFs, workbooks that are PDFs. All my resources will be shown in our next video. Thank you for watching.